For a second there, I thought Eric was just being really Eric.
Right.
Wow, I got some explaining to do. It's like, why are you guys like 11 bazillion minutes late on the T Curious account? Whoever's here, please confirm that we're on the T Curious account right now, Steven.
I bet that pinged all my friends.
I
Steven
know,
has gone live for the first time.
Pinged all of your friends who have never seen you live or post a story or post a post at all. You know, so I think that probably confused a lot of people. But welcome now to the right account. For those of you who hopped on Steven's account, you're probably like, why are you broadcasting in this kid's account? Steven, if you've noticed, has never posted anything on Instagram. So, you know, if you're Steven's friend, you probably got blasted with a join Steven's first ever live video.
Yeah.
But we're here, we're back. So sorry for being late. It's because I, was on the wrong account. But welcome to day 13 of Puerh Love, and I'm ready in love, so this is just bonus for me right now. Welcome to Eric from T-Sleuth, Jeremy from TJ9, Claire from Fantastic Claire. Thanks for letting me know that I was oopsing. I'm already tea drunk. It's not even the start of the week yet. Yeah. Steven's much cuter than me though, so I'm sorry that it's not Steven. You probably got excited. Amy is here. Bonsoir, my friend. Leaves in Hot Water is here. Tea Blossom is here too. Gabby is here. And Teapods. Welcome to today's practice. So, excuse our, construction zone thing. We needed to break up the cake that we're going to use for today's experiment. Because, me and Steven probably know by now which teas we really like. We know the pours we like. I think, we're good. Now we want to figure out which tea wares fit the best for the pours that we do like. And we do have a pot that we like for sheng pour today already, but I just want to make double sure, triple sure that the pot that we like for sheng is the one that we actually like for sheng. So this is a pot we use for sheng pour. It's a very big pot. You could use it. Nan showed me during her interview how the makeup tutorials do it. They kind of do this. I have small hands though. It's a pretty big pot. So here's a more standard guy one, I guess. This sheng pour pot is quite big for most standards, and while that can put off some people, you usually want a smaller pot for pour so you can do your flash steeps. We tend to like pours that aren't that sensitive anyway, so this works really well for us. But we will test out to see if it can stand up to the other the other pots on the table. Eric says that Nosaka works well for all teas. We do have our Nosaka here that we're going to test out.
Formerly Eric's Nosaka.
Formerly Eric's Nosaka, actually. So it's vintage. It's antique.
I actually think that's going to do really well.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I haven't tried this with sheng. This clay is actually Japanese. It looks like a Chinese style pot, but it's actually Japanese clay that I really, really, really like. It's probably my favorite from the clays that you might have heard,
Hojo.
About Nosaka, Shigaraki, Kobiwako, these kind of niche clays. They're actually from Japan, and they were popularized by Hojo tea. And honestly, those pots have really, really cool components and characteristics to them. They're not very flashy, but their performance is really, really good, depending on the tea. My favorite of them is the Nosaka, so I'm excited to try that today. We also have a modern Juni. I don't want to call it modern Juni though, because Juni, by its nature, is like the old stuff. So I'm going to call this Yixing. This is the one that Steven prepared from a while back, so don't worry, it's not gonna break. And yes, Gabby, Nosaka is a type of clay. Joe is here as well. Hello, tea peeps to you too. We're gonna test another Japanese clay, Tokoname, classic one. Another one that seems to do well with lighter teas, and then we'll do a weirder one. This is my Tokoname reduction. It's fired in a different way than the regular Tokoname. With an absence of oxygen, so that's why the dark color is going on there. And then we have our Gaiwan, just for reference. Sounds good? Anything else? Yeah? Steven, how's construction doing? We made a big mistake trying to commit to the Space Girls for the experiment today. Remember how heavy that cake was? It's just compressed. You doing okay, Steven?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we'll get going. Nyenke S. Becker, Ian from Dottytron, thanks dude for the pour challenge again. Thanks for inspiring that. Now that we're fully in love with pour after so long, it's a good feeling. And then Ronan is here as well. Yeah, welcome to today's experiment. So for those of you who've seen me do this experiment before, you might have seen me do this part. But when you're testing out your pots, they're different sizes, yeah? So a good step is to use the same amount of tea for every single pot, right? A step above that, if you really want to dial into the performance of the pot, is not just to use the same amount of tea and water, because not just the clay material, but also the shape of the pots and the heat retention is going to play a difference. So today I'm going to show you how to do that with just a scale. Use a scale that can at least handle like 500 grams of water. Some of the scales on Amazon can only handle like 100 grams. These pots are at least like 100 to 200 grams each. 1 ml equals 1 gram. So we need to adjust the amount of tea that we're putting in each pot for the amount of water that's coming in. Does that make sense? It's still not super perfect, but we can at least try to control for some variables. And yeah, excuse our noise. Construction zone over there. Was it trying to break apart a cake of Space Girls? I mean, look at this chonker.
I stabbed into your tea tray.
What, really? It's just... Oh, man, yeah. I picked that tea today because it's the one that I've drunk the most over the last couple weeks, so I know it relatively well. But yeah, sorry, Steven.
I'm sorry for your tea tray.
What's wrong with my tea tray? Oh my god, there's like pock marks on it, Steven! Look at this kid. See that? What the hell? I leave me alone for 2 seconds with my tea tray. Now my tea tray's got marks on it. I guess
I'll repair it for you.
it's our puerh breaking tray now. Oh my god. Yeah. So, Eric, you don't have to fill the pots all the way to the top, but there is something to be said about how well the pot performs when you do fill it up all the way to the top, because we could just use 100 ml for all of them and let them sit. But let's say this guy is not going to be filled. I mean, this guy's going to be pretty full, right, with 100 ml. But this guy will have a lot of extra air swirling in the empty space, which might cool the water down more. That's why I want to use just filling them up to the top and adjusting for the amount of tea to, you know, compensate. Does that make sense? Yeah, so that's why I'm doing it this way. I don't always test my pots this way, but when I'm feeling a little bit more detail-oriented, I'll do it this way. Okay, so take your, you know, teaware. You have your scale. Zero it out. Okay, and then you got your water, and then you just see how much water it takes to fill up to the top for where you usually pour. So this guy is 100, as I know, 100 ml guy 1. So we'll set, how many grams do you have of the puerh? Like, so much work Steven did to pull all of these out.
Each of these are about 3.
3? Okay. So we'll do a gram for each 100 ml. Does that make sense? So for every 100 ml volume, 1 gram. That makes it easier because if we measure out this guy and it's 300 ml, all you have to do is 1 times 3 because 100 ml is 1 gram. 300 ml is 3 grams. So yeah, math. We're good.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm just going to measure out all of my pots like this. Remembering to tare. Just showing you the method that we use. I also like to show the method that I'm using because I want you guys to call out any issues with the experimental method, you know? I mean, it's not a lab, but this makes me at least a little bit more aware of what could be missing from what I'm doing. So this is 120, so 1.2 grams on this, right? Steven, you want to help me? Ooh, write it down. The modern yixing is 1.2. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have any questions about what we're doing with this process. We're just measuring out the amount of water that goes into each pot. I highly recommend you have an Excel spreadsheet where you keep, you know, the volume measurements for all your pots. Just do it once, not like me. We've done this so many times, I don't have an Excel spreadsheet of all of this yet. I should do that today, actually. I get tired of doing the measurements. So this is 100. See, that's crazy. You'd think that this is a little bit bigger, right? But they're both exactly 100 ml. Of course, it depends on how you fill it up, you know, but We're just trying to be a little bit more exact than usual. Just filling it up all the way to the top. These kisus are going to be big, so they're going to have a little bit more volume in them. While I'm doing this, you know, enjoy me pouring water into pots. It's the most exciting thing of every Monday. I can't think of a more exciting Monday for you guys to do. And let me know what you're drinking. We are actually drinking the last of yesterday's Nano handmade show. The rain butter from West China Tea Company. It's also called Delicious. This is 185. Let's see if I can make it go to 100. No, that's 100. That's 180. 180. Yeah, it's not going to get much more full than that. All right. So you get that with a 180 ml pot, we need to put 1.8 grams, correct? Right? Does that make sense? Yeah? I know it's very riveting, Joe. I just love watching myself pour water in and out of pots. It's my favorite thing to do. Not. So 180, this one is, I think, this is the one that goes up pretty high. Like to 200. Ooh, 240. 240 for this one. That's another chanka. Alright. 240, and then this is probably going to be the biggest one, I think. I've actually never measured the volume of this one, Steven. Don't think. This is the Taiwanese wood-fired pot that we already use for sheng puerh, okay? And Steven was like, why put it in the lineup? We already know it's good, but what if one is better? We're screwed. Wow! I had no idea. This is actually bigger, Steven. This one is 210. 210. Okay, so math whizzes, right? So we measured it. This is 100 ml. So we're putting 1 gram, right? This one is 120. This one? 120. So we're putting 1.2 grams. This one's 100. We're putting 1 gram. This one is 180. We're putting 1.8 grams. This one's 240. We're doing 2.4 grams. This one's 210. 2.1 grams. Got it? Yeah? It's not perfect, I promise. It's not going to be the most scientific, perfect thing in the world, but it's better than nothing. And the more that you can eliminate all these extra, like, oh, what about the heat retention? It's like, well, dude, no, I filled it up all the way, so don't heat retention me, you know? But it's okay if, like, someone asks you about your experimental method. It's not a bad thing. It just helps you refine your testing better. I honestly think this is really, really fun, no matter how many times I do it. And like we'd said in the Discord, we've had some really good teaware comparisons over the last couple of days. You almost have to do it a lot to get consistent results. If you don't like it, then don't do it. But if you like it, and I really, really like doing this, then do it. Yeah. Cool. See what Eric said? He says, use a Sharpie and write the ml on the bottom of each pot. We should do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's start with an Osaka. You want to do that, Eric? Okay, let's go. Ready? So what is it, Steven?
Then Osaka is 100 flat.
100 flat? Okay. I'm not gonna do that. Jesus. Ooh, it smells horrible. No way. Get that out of here. No, Eric, we'll do it the right way with a spreadsheet. You didn't think we were actually gonna do it, right? Yeah. So, while I weigh these out, I will talk about the clays again. The first one we're doing is our 100 ml Gaiwan. It's gonna be kind of like our test. For me, the Gaiwan is the one I know the best, the most consistent one that I know of. It's kind of like my quote-unquote neutral. Okay? So porcelain Gaiwan, cheap stuff, not really the best porcelain Gaiwan in the world, but it's solid. My bone china Gaiwan, that's my favorite, is under repair. Waiting for that from Steven.
It's right there.
I know.
Wait, no, it's at the shop, isn't it?
It is at the shop, yeah. At the tea shop. Okay. Next one. This is a modern Junie, they call it. I don't want to call it modern Junie though, because from what I understand, and I'm not an Yixing clay expert, Junie, which is Z-H-U-N-I, is a clay that was, relatively more common in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and then I've heard it's gone extinct. I've heard that it's not that, Yeah, we actually have a Junie pot that's a little bit different too. I don't want to call it Junie if I can't authenticate it. People say, oh, it's got the orange skin, you know, peel texture and stuff, but having never handled an old Junie pot, I don't want to call this Junie. So while this was sold as a modern Junie pot, I'm just going to call it Yixing clay. Okay? Is that all right? Okay. So that's 120 ml. So I'm going to measure out 1.2 grams. Does that make sense, friends? Science friends, math friends? Yeah, 1.2. I'm trying my best to keep these relatively unbroken so that we're not dealing with like fragmentation, you know. Yeah. Yeah, go. 120, right, Stephen, this one? 1.2 grams?
Yep.
Cool. So that's a Chinese clay pot here. So if you have some kind of like just general Yixing clay that's this color, like a Hongni, I would say this is pretty similar. It's a little bit more orange in real life than it is on screen, but you know, if you have a orangey reddish Yixing clay, that's probably the one that you're looking at as a comparison. Yeah. Eric says, I was told Junie was not from Yixing. Yeah, I've been told lots of things too. That's why I don't really like dealing with Yixing pots. When I ask, you know, the Japanese makers or the Taiwanese makers, where's it from? I have an answer. Or they'll tell me they don't know. When it's Yixing, it's like, ugh, like all this extra stuff. I'm like, I don't want to deal with the fact finding, you know. So this one is 180, so we'll put 1.8 grams on it. Claire, I saw I almost gave you a panic attack with the clay. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to punish Eric. Yeah, we're almost there. Don't worry. Thanks for waiting for us to do this. I just want to show you how we actually do this. So if you want to do it yourself, you can do it too. And if you want to post the data on the Discord, even better. I think you guys can see how much I like the fact that the data goes on the Discord. So we can actually compare, ask each other what the, you know, the experimental data was like. So next one, oh, I didn't tell you about this one. This is a Tokoname reduction clay. This is from Tanikawa Jin from Artistic Nippon. Really nice stuff. The dark color comes from the reduction firing. I think it just means that oxygen was less or even absent during the firing process. And then there's some kind of charcoal rice hull applied to it to make it dark. So these are both Tokoname. So when you're buying your pots, just because one looks like, you know, a little bit different doesn't mean they're not the same clay. They are from different artists, so different artists will have different clay blends, etc., etc. All that to say, you know, it's nice to know where your pot is from, but you need to test it first, for sure. Okie dokie. Yeah. 1 gram here. This one here is the Inosaka that Eric from Tea Sleuth said he likes a lot for all kinds of teas. This is a Hojo tea one. I really like this clay for oolong. I like it for white tea. I like it for almost everything. It tends to bring out complexity in the tea without changing the kind of character of the tea that much. I want teaware to bring out the best of that tea. So I don't want my yancha to taste like high mountain oolong, right? Like it's just, I want the yancha to taste like yancha. I don't want my sheng puerh to taste like green tea. So if the pot is good, but it makes my sheng puerh taste like green tea, I just find it not to be a match. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And then just the pure, just do you like it factor, which is why I'm glad I have Steven here, because sometimes I overthink things. I'm like, it's so, the aroma is so good and the texture, and Steven's just like, I don't like it. I'm like, he's right though. Do you like it or not, right? So this guy is the regular Tokoname. We're going to put 2.4. For those of you joining in, we're just adjusting the ratios of this tea to make sure that we account for, wait, 2.4, right, Stephen? Yeah.
For which one?
For the Tokoname. This is a regular
2.4.
Classic Tokoname pot. My favorite one for green tea, does really well with light oolong as well, when white tea too. Very, very nice performance pot. This is a very nice Tokoname pot. Probably my favorite Kyushu, just for the performance, the lightness. It's extremely light. It's like 120, 140 grams. So There's actually more water by weight inside the pot than the actual pot itself. It's really, really lovely.
Good old reliable.
I love it. It's just great. Yeah. Last one. Thanks for waiting for us to like get through all the experiment stuff. I saw Mindful Tea was over here. Good evening over from Las Vegas. Thanks for staying up late, Europe friends, to hang out with us again. We really appreciate that. Hope that your Monday was okay. We got just one more before we actually start pouring tea. Ooh, let's heat up the kettle so that's nice and hot for when we start our experiment. This last one is a Taiwanese wood-fired pot. This is actually a blend of Taiwanese and Japanese clay. Dope stuff. This is our sheng pot right now. So hopefully that guy does well. If it does not, there's a problem because that's the one we use right now for sheng. Yeah. So we need to put 2.1, Steven? 2.1 grams. Trying not to break up this cake too much. So just like a medium amount of breakage. It's too much now. 2.1. Okay, perfect. We got it! Woohoo! All right. So again, for those of you who just joined us, this whole girl measuring leaves and stuff like that, you just want to adjust the amount of leaf you're putting in for how much water goes into your teapot. That's all, okay? Yeah. Eric, you've seen this 1,000 times, so you can yawn. Actually, me and Eric, the reason why he's tired of me is because we once did a like 4 or 5 day teapot comparison. Like white tea, Chinese green tea, Japanese green tea, light oolong, medium oolong, dark oolong, you know, Dian Hong, Fujian black, sheng puerh, shou puerh, hei cha. So that's why Eric from Tea Sleuth is like, ugh, I've done this already. Eric, I would actually like to do that again with you. I keep joking about the fact that it was such a bore and I never wanted to see your face again afterwards, but actually I had a really good time. We did nothing but drink tea and eat pizza. Doesn't that sound like a good time? Yeah. Seasonal Mitigation is here, Dr. Felix is here, Chalk Crusade is here, Journey with a Cup, and Tea Traveler. How's it going, guys? Thanks again for joining us from Europe, for those of y'all who are over from Europe. Nice weather today in Vegas. Not too bad. And then, the last thing we gotta do is make sure we have exactly matching pictures for every single one of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I know, I always complain about glass, but when you have this much like tea, you gotta pour it somewhere, so yeah. We'll put them into these glass pitchers, we'll be able to see the color differences in them. We'll line them up. So we'll put the Taiwanese first, the Tokoname 1 second, the Nosaka fourth. Yeah, let's see if we can get all of these guys in the frame. Does that look okay? Yeah. Yeah. There we go. So we'll go... Which one first? The porcelain guy one first, I'd say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got that? 1, 2. This is the Yushin clay. 3. The Osaka clay from Japan. 4. Reduced Tokoname. 5. Regular Tokoname, Japan. 6. Taiwanese clay, wood-fired. Got it? Memorized? Okay. Yeah, a couple more of these guys. I got teawares for days, you guys. But I actually do use all of them, so don't be mad. I'm not one of those people who's just like, I just want to collect teaware to be a dick. Are there even people like that? I don't think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5. And, yeah, let's drink this later. It's pretty good water. It's got some floaties in it from the tea. It's so satisfying, right? Can you just feel the potential? We're just full of potential right now. It's great. I have not preheated any of these, by the way. So I did use the water, but the water was kind of like lukewarm. So they should be relatively the same temperature. Yeah. Actually, this one is kind of warm. So let me see if I can kind of let it cool off a little bit. Yeah? Yeah. Do we have a ray gun? At your house?
On the desk right there.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Just want to make sure they're all the same temperature. You don't need this, guys. I just like having an excuse to point a laser at my teaware. 75 degrees, 75, 77, 76, and 76. Yeah, around the same range. Is that okay? Yeah? Even this one? That's 79 degrees. 78, it's dropping now. Hey Shiloh, is this good enough? We gotta get the okay from Shiloh, resident ceramicist. There's like a variation of about, oh, that's Fahrenheit. Now I gotta redo it. 26, 24, 24 degrees Celsius, 24 degrees Celsius, 24 degrees Celsius. So a variation of around 2 degrees Celsius for these guys. I think just a natural variation, I would say. And these are not like lab grade, you know, lab grade temperature scanners, so yeah. Cool. You guys got any questions? Man, I know it took a while, but I wanted to show you guys how we actually do this so that, you know, you can see how our experiments go. Mindful Tea says we need a bigger frame. Yeah, just so many teas. Teapots. I mean, let's try it. Yeah. Yeah? Oh my god, I'm scared I'll break something. I think we're good though. Our kettle is nice and warm now. I'm not... Should I preheat my glass kettles? Glass pitchers, Stephen? Yeah, I'll preheat them.
You want to rinse them out at least.
Yeah, I'll rinse them out. Okay. Questions, concerns? You know, I don't know what you call those. Just protestations. Speak now, forever hold your peace. Preheating the glass pitchers. So I'm not preheating the pots, I'm preheating the glass pitchers. When you're doing these kinds of experiments, you don't have to have 6 different teapots on the table, but I'm really curious to see how these pots perform with sheng. It's no joke or no lie that puerh, you know, I've always liked it, but I haven't really done a deep dive into puerh, so I honestly haven't tested a lot of my pots as just really strongly or consistently for the performance with puerh as my other pots. So I'm excited. I'm always excited. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like this reduced tokoname too. This is actually made for me, custom. I wanted it to be a little bit smaller than the potter's usual. That was before I was like, it's okay if I have a bigger pot. I had no idea this was only 200 ml though. It looks like a much bigger pot.
It's 210, so.
210, yeah. Gosh, kill me. Eric says how many of these pictures I have. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
One's getting repaired.
I had 10. Ken broke one at the store where we teach at. But yeah, they're very nice pictures. Shiloh, you're a big fan of the wine glass for tea. I like these pictures a lot because they have the kind of aroma enhancing shape, like a wine glass. And they don't lose heat just a little bit, you know, not too much, because they actually curve in at the top a little bit. So I love them. They catch the light really well. Sometimes I have some gripes about glass. These aren't my favorite glass I've ever tested, but they're not the worst either. Okay, you're like, finally! Some tea curious time. It's not just about experiments. No pain, no gain, you guys. Steven, you got a timer on? Let me remove all of these lids so I can put them on. So we will see how much time it takes for me to pour for everything, and then hopefully when we pour out, it's going to be about the same amount. Right? Ready?
Wait. I need a timer, right?
Ready? Yeah, need a timer. Need a timer. Okay. You know my pin on my phone.
I forgot it.
It's my best friend's birthday. Okay. Ready?
Let me pull up the timer.
I'm dying here. This is 92 Celsius now, Steven. It's not, it's ruined.
Okay.
The experiment's ruined.
Whatever you want.
Okay, ready? Pouring the same way. Go. Nice, perfect, what I wanted. 8, 9, 10. 10 counts for every 100 ml. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Perfect. 180 ml, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15. How are you guys doing today? 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh, I'm a little late on this one. 25, 26. Okay. You might not have enough water for the last one, Stephen. I'm kind of nervous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, we're out of water for that one. Damn it. Sigh. I'll pour this one half the time from everything else. So we'll do 3 minutes for this one. So I'll pour this one at 3 minutes also to account for the amount of time. And then we just didn't have enough water. Luckily, that's the pot that we know pretty well, but I didn't want to use it for reference. We're like 100 ml short. Damn it! So now we're just waiting. Let's see. Charlotte says the enclosed rim shape assists with maintaining heat retention a bit more and aroma. Agree. Also what I noticed. So we got a minute left. Yeah. Any questions? We're using Crimson Lotus Tea's Space Girls. It's a sheng blend. Pretty friendly, pretty kind of like, it's just very classic sheng puerh flavor. More on like a kind of mellow side of the sheng spectrum. So it's not going to knock us out, you know? Yeah. We got 30 more seconds to go before we pour this guy and this guy. Yeah. I'm always super excited when I do these. It never gets old. You'll always learn something new every single time you repeat the experiment, even if you've done it a million times before. And I kind of have. We really need to have an Excel spreadsheet for all this, Stephen. Ooh, this is a hot boy. Ooh, hot boy. Ooh. Oh, she hot. Oh, not the lady. Okay. 10 counts. All right, Stephen, can you pour the other one? This one? Oh, God, I can do this. I'm pouring the last one out early because it had half a tea water amount. So it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. All right,
Sounds really
that's slow. Yeah. Me starting this.
The sake is really fast.
The sake is really fast. Pour. Yeah. So as you can see, it's not gonna be a perfect experiment, but because of the pour, some pots just pour a lot faster than others. 42. Wait a couple seconds for this one. 50. Okay. Different colors, huh, Stephen?
Yeah.
Much different colors. Oh, it's so satisfying to pour out of a kyusu. I'm a big fan of kyusus. Okay, I'm not shaking these pots out too much. Well, I was a little early on that one. It's okay. The different colors always make me so happy to look at. It's just so cool. Boom! Wow, look at the color differences. They're so different. See? What? Is that even the same tea? That's insane. And even the ones from like earlier on too. A little bit different color. This is the Gaiwan one. This is the kind of Yixing red-orange clay one. Different colors. Let's smell them. I'm going to be inspired by Esther, who is my aroma junkie over at Discord. Ooh, there's a hair in there. Ruined. That looks like my hair, actually. Moving along. Okay. Smelling the teas. Wow, holy crap. This does not nearly have as much aroma as this one. This is number 1, the Gaiwan. Number 2, the Yixing, a lot of aroma. Nosaka, number 3. Actually, not much aroma. Very sweet though. So the Hongni looking Yixing clay from China has the most aroma so far. This is the reduction Tokoname. This is the one that always has the darkest liquor. Look how dark that is. It's crazy. Not much aroma either. More mineral aroma, if I have to point it out. The Tokoname also doesn't have a lot of aroma from the Tokoname clay pot from Japan. It's a little sweeter, I'd say. And the last one is a Taiwanese wood-fired teapot. Also not much aroma. Interestingly, the one with the most aroma was a Hongni, I would say. Yeah, wow. Interesting. And then you can kind of barely see the color differences between these. So, yeah, the ones that are with the darkest colors are the... The 2 Tokoname Kyusus are the darkest, followed by the Taiwanese wood-fired pot and the 2 other like black handle pots here, and the lightest colored one is the Gaiwan. So remember that the Gaiwan is the one they poured first, so if our experiment's not perfect, it might be because it wasn't steeping as long, but it does hold up to what I've seen before, that even if you put the Gaiwan at the end, it tends to have a lighter color. So you can imagine the color is going to be, you know, big difference in color. We'll probably have a big difference in flavor too. So we'll see. Yeah, the cake pieces opened up pretty similarly in each. And while we're waiting for us to preheat these pots, I want to see what the temperature is like on them. So check the Gaiwan. 47 degrees Celsius on the lid. Let me check the body instead. Yeah, it's better. 45 degrees in the Gaiwan Celsius. 45 degrees on the Yixing. 47 degrees on the Nosaka. Ooh, that's not as cold. 49 degrees. About the same, actually. 50 degrees. Yeah, really more or less the same. I wouldn't be surprised, but they're pretty similar in temperature. Just from a quick read. Ready? The most important part is actually the tasting. Everything up until this moment is just playing around. The taste is the most important thing. For me. Your mileage may vary. First one, Gaiwan. Very soft. Very soft, sweet. Yeah, it's hard to describe the first one. It's kind of like a reference point. Soft, sweet. It's softer than I thought it would be. Absolutely no sharpness at all. This is the Gaiwan over here. This guy. Are you not impressed by our ability to juggle these many teapots and teawares without breaking anything? It's pretty impressive, you know. Just how to say. We're gonna jinx it someday, Steven. It's okay. Steven, thoughts? Very sweet. I like it. It's like a nice kind of friendly drinker. If you're doing something else, you don't want to think about it too much. Gaiwan's very solid. If anything, it's a little bit flat, I would say, if you like to have the sharpness of the puerh come out. But I don't mind something that kind of softens the taste of the puerh so much. So I do like this Gaiwan. Robin from RB Ceramics, welcome to our test. It's a side-by-side of different pots. And Lo Chanti, welcome, welcome. It's early morning there in India for you guys. Thanks for joining us. Next one. Oh, nice aftertaste kicking in on the Gaiwan. This is one weakness with this kind of side-by-side experimentation is that you can't get the aftertaste as accurately as you would like when you're doing it really fast like this. This is why in Taiwan, they showed us how to do this at the Taiwanese Research Extension Station in Pinglin. When they do the competition style brewing for everything, when they're trying to evaluate teas, they will actually let the tea all cool down, all of them, which is kind of heartbreaking because you want to taste the tea when it's hot, but it's more fair, I guess, when you let everything else cool down. You can kind of take your time a little bit, but even then, I see them cup hundreds of teas, right? it's harder to get the aftertaste. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. A pot that might be good specifically for aftertaste will not perform very well in this kind of side-by-side tasting, okay? Let me see if I can scoot into pots a little bit more. You're right, mindful teas. I need like a bigger frame for all of these guys. Yeah. Okay. Next one is the Hongni looking Yixing clay. The one that's been sold to me as a modern Junie. Ooh, much more flavor in that one, right? Rich, warm, nice. Much different from the Gaiwan. It does have a kind of drying finish to it though. Do you get that, Stephen? A little bit drying finish, but the taste is very satisfying, big, bold. Very, very good. I don't like the drying texture though. Spoiler alert, we use that pot for yancha. So I wonder if that's kind of changing the results a little bit. I really do feel that the material matters more than the seasoning. They go hand in hand, but you can't out-season a pot that does not want to be used for that tea. Does that make sense? Yeah, so even if the pot just wants to be used for green tea, but you're like, you know, screw you, dude, you're gonna be an oolong pot, you can't out-season it, I feel like. Yeah, so good flavor, very bold. Nice aftertaste, but the finish is a little bit dry, and the feeling on the tongue is a little bit dry too. It's kind of like a yes and no for me. Not my favorite, but I'm impressed by the boldness of the flavor. Next one, number 3, the Nosaka pot. This is the Hojo pot again, the back handled Nosaka clay. All right. We like these clay pots. The Nosaka clay just tends to perform really well for most things. I find that it boosts complexity. So I don't want to use it for show, personally. I don't want to boost the complexity of show. It depends on the show, though. And maybe the Nanwo show yesterday would do good in that. But anyway, we're talking about sheng. How does it taste? Ooh, I like that. Wow. You're looking for those ooh moments. Delicious. I really like that. That's got all the softness and sweetness of the Gaiwan, but a little bit more boost to the texture, the softness, the aromatics, just everything is there. I like it a lot. It has a little bit of that drying sensation, but not too much. Beautiful. And then the aftertaste on it, I think it is coming from this pot. It's very aromatic on the aftertaste. Just very good. When you're testing your pots like this, don't make excuses for the pots. If something just makes sense, you're like, it's the one, you know? Yeah. And yes, Robin, as you heard from Stephen's furious typing to the side, we don't season our pots for anything because we like to test things a little bit too much. Yeah, there are certain pots we will season a lot for a certain thing. So for the most part, we use this for roasted oolong. For the most part, we use this for green tea. For the most part, I use this for yancha. But if I just toss in one, you know, sometimes if I want to test something, I don't feel like it's too bad of a thing. It's not gonna ruin the pot. Unless it's something like a flavored tea or a chai or like a sticky rice puerh, maybe it might be a little bit too aggressive, but I like that. I like the Nosaka the best so far. Yeah, so number 4, this is the Reduction Tokoname Kyusu that a lot of you guys really, really liked. It's got the seaweed pattern on it. It's from Tanikawa Jin. That's actually one of the most temperamental pots in my collection for a while. I didn't know what to use for it. You'd think a Japanese pot would be good for green tea, but it's horrible with green tea. Horrible. After a long time of kind of regretting getting it because it wasn't that good for anything, I finally tested it with Wui Rock Oolong, and it boosts the Yun from Wui Rock Oolong a lot. That classic rocky flavor, kind of like meatiness of any Wui Rock Oolong just goes woohoo with this pot. Let's see what does this for sheng. It's boring. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually very flat. It's like you put a band-aid on it. I don't know why. I don't know why I use the word band-aid, but it's just it feels like when you're spackling a wall and there's like a glob of flavor, you just spackle it and just smooth. So there's nothing wrong with it, but it's very boring. It's definitely a muting pot, but more than just muting, it makes it extremely boring. And this pot is it's just very specific. I can really only use it for rock oolong and sometimes heita. It does okay. That's boring. I don't like that. Nothing wrong with it, but that's boring. Okay, number 5, the tokoname kyusu, regular one. They're both tokoname, but this one's more of a classic tokoname, not reduction firing, it's an oxidation firing. Maybe if you're here still, Robin and or Shiloh, you can explain to us what the reduction or oxidation process is different. From what I understand, the redness comes from like the oxygen present in the firing and stuff. Yeah, Steven?
The reduction kind of amped up the energy a bit. Did you get that?
I did. Yeah, I did. That, by the way, yeah, this happens quite a bit. It's harder for me to tell what's going on with tea feels, tea energy, chachi during a session when I'm trying to host an Instagram live, which is why I don't log my puerh love sessions until later when I can kind of do a session by myself. I am an introvert, you know, like I have to have the introvert switch off when I do these. I find that this one really does strange things to the feeling of a tea. Yeah, it does feel different, for sure. Now that Steven's pointing it out, it's not the first time that it's been mentioned about this pot. It's an odd pot. Yeah. I still want, even if it made me feel amazing though, it just makes the tea taste boring. It did amp up. Yeah.
Like a
yeah.
faster heart rate kind of.
Yeah.
Which I don't
yeah.
love.
Yeah.
But.
Agree. Like everything's looking a little bit more shiny now, and I don't want to have that happen when I'm doing an Instagram live. Yeah. Mindful teas, don't get disappointed. That pot is amazing for Wui rock oolong. Incredible. It makes like medium grade rock oolong taste like higher grade rock oolong, and it makes high grade rock oolong taste like incredible. Just amazing. Just not good for sheng. Tokoname. Did I give you some of this, Steven?
No.
Oh, that's boring too. I actually don't like that. I'm surprised. I thought that the tokoname might be good because it boosts the complexity of green teas. You'd think that with sheng puerh, it's kind of similar to being a green tea. It's not as bad as the reduction, though. It is very sweet. That smell that I smelled from the fairness picture came out in the taste. It's almost like mapley. That's the first thing that comes to mind, actually. The Quebecois tasting note that I've gotten from them. Kind of mapley. More of like the texture than the actual taste. It's there in the taste, though. Do you get that? Just very round. I like the textural effect of this, but not the muting to the flavor.
It has good texture.
Yeah, the texture is nice. This is why you have to test your pots, because sometimes the texture will be boosted and then the complexity might go down. You want a pot that does all of it, you know? Find yourself a girl that does both. Right, Steven? I don't know. Don't ask Steven. He doesn't know anything about that. Nice texture. Not so much in the complexity. Note that this last one is a Taiwanese wood-fired pot that we did not successfully infuse correctly because we ran out of water. But this is the one that we like the most. So it should still do good, okay? It should still do good. If there's a problem with it, we need to retest this pot. Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. Holy crap. Wow. Yeah, it wasn't perfect in the side-by-side, so I need to give it that, but it's just unmistakable when a tea matches the pot. I want you guys to do it side-by-side so there's nothing you can say about like, oh, I didn't, maybe it was something else that caused it to taste so good. But honestly, even if your experimental variables are not perfect, the pot that matches well with the tea just comes out. Just personally speaking, okay? You don't even need to have 6 pots lined up. Just have 3, or maybe just your regular pot and then another pot. And even if you don't get a difference in the very beginning, do it again, and do it again, and do it again. Because not only are your pots, you know, they're just beautiful. You can use them as tools to help you figure out how to boost your teas. So if someone wants to try a sheng, but they're very kind of, you know, they're allergic to the dryness that a sheng puerh can have, I might use this tokonami pot, even if it kind of tones down the complexity, because it makes it so smooth and so round that there's no one who's going to complain about the astringency of the sheng. If someone wants to get tea drunk, which I've actually done that before, you know, I've used this pot to like dual Ken at the tea shop here at Tea and Whisk in Vegas, because he's like, I want to make a tea drunk. I'm like, hold my beer, Ken. Like, I'm going to pour you a dansang in one of this. And it, you know, it just changes the way it feels. It's weird. I couldn't make this up, you know? Like, I'm not that creative. And then the gaiwan is good for just kind of basic evaluation. Pick a gaiwan that you always use, or a pot you always use, that you can try every single new tea in it, so you're not, you know, helping the tea with the pot that you're using. Because I think any tea should taste good even with just a standard material. Yeah. I'd still say the Taiwanese wood fire pot's the best. Even considering the issues with the, you know, we just didn't put enough water in it. I did pour it out earlier, like half the time, because we put in half the water. It just, why is it so good? It's got that floral character, it's sweet, it's minerally, it's got texture, it's got the tiny bit of dryness, but at the very, very tip. You know, it's just got everything I want in a sheng. It makes that sheng taste more shengy. You know, whatever it's there, it just boosts it. You know? Good stuff. Really, really good. Yeah. And of course, there's other things going on. The shape of the pot, the pour, the heat retention of the material are all changing the ways that this tea is performing. Again, this is the 2016 or 17 Space Girls Sheng from Crimson Lotus, a tea I've had a couple times over the last 2 weeks. That's why we chose it for today's experiment. After this live, we'll probably do another round just to see for ourselves, take a little bit more time with it. But yeah, let's rank them. Before we rank them, let's see what y'all said about what I was asking. Trekking Buddha, welcome. Yeah, we got so many pots to the table. Each one serves a purpose. RB Ceramics says, correct, the reduction fire inhibits the carbon dioxide, which is a harder process and creates a change in the clay molecules, as oxidation is simpler and keeps the iron oxide as is red. Yes, from what I know. So use what Robin from RB Ceramics said to kind of visualize. This is the pot that's oxidized. Oxygen is present. It's red, like rust, right? And then this guy, if you don't include the seaweed applied to it at the very end, it's completely dark. No rust color because there's no oxygen, I guess. You know, supposedly, yes, this is supposed to be a little bit harder to do. Yeah, makes a different effect. I find that the reduction firings have slightly darker colors. So if you have a dark colored kyusu that's not painted, I think it's reduction, but I'm not totally sure. You still have to test out your pots and ask the vendor, you know, hopefully. And if your vendor doesn't know, I still trust that person, because if they're willing to say they don't know, it's probably good, because no one knows everything. Nienke S. Becker, I don't know much about teapots yet, but why would the color of the liquor of the tokonami pots be brighter, but the taste more bland? It might be that they're adding too much hardness to the liquor. So our water here in Vegas is very, 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 very hard. And harder water will make water or tea taste more muted if it's too hard. So while it's dark, it tastes like almost nothing. So it's a really good question. You would think that the one that's darker colored would have more flavor, but the color doesn't always translate to flavor when you're playing with minerals, because I'm not a chemist. I've done a lot of study on like how the minerals are interacting with tea. Not a lot, not enough, but not like minerals are not equal. So if this has more calcium and this one has more potassium and this one has more, you know, iron, it's gonna have a different effect on the color of the tea and the taste. So it's complex. the sooner that we're okay with the complexity of minerals and materials and tea, the better. The best thing to do is just enjoy testing, you know, because I can't tell you mathematically why these are so different, but I can taste it. And the winners, I would say, are the Taiwanese wood-fired pot, probably number 1. Number 2, the Nosaka from Japan. These two guys just were amazing for this tea. I still think this is better. It's just a little bit more complex. So many more layers of flavor. This one though is very sweet. So I'd say this is sweeter, smoother. This one boosts a little bit more of the pleasant bitterness, dryness, florality. So if you like to taste your sheng as it is, this one just makes a lot of sense to me. Taiwan wood-fired pot. Been fired 7 days. Yeah, I actually wanted this to be an oolong pot. I'm so biased. It's just one of the most beautiful pots in our collection. I wanted it to be for oolong because I like oolong, but it ended up being a sheng pot. So the pot kind of chooses the tea. We joke that it's like the Sorting Hat in Harry Potter. It's like, you're an oolong pot. I'm like, no, you can't change it, you know? Yeah. Other questions. Let's see. Mindful teas, do you think it would change a lot tasting? Do you think it would change a lot tasting using different porcelain gaiwans? Yes. It's true. Different porcelain gaiwans will taste different. I think Shiloh was the one who told us about this. That different kinds of bone china are fired with different kinds of bone material, animal bone, and that will change the quality of the porcelain. So I do have a couple different porcelain gaiwans. They all taste different. And after so many experiments, I actually know which gaiwan I want to use for which tea. You know, I don't do it to be a snob. I do it because I want my tea to be the best. And if that extra 5% is there to boost the tea, let's say your water does 10%. Your teapot does 10%. You do 10% because you're an amazing brewer, right? Good. The tea does like 50%. That's 10, 10, 10, 50. It's 80% better of a response from the tea because you added all of those factors up. So I'm not saying that you could put this pot in the hands of a beginner who's never brewed puerh before and it's going to be the most amazing. But this kind of like step-by-step working towards a more perfect cup is what we're trying to do here. Yeah, and it's fun. I really do have fun with this. It doesn't bore me. You learn a lot about how your tea changes during this. Yeah. Trekking Buddha, so happy to hear that you use Nosaka. Yeah, we like Nosaka a lot. I like it for oolong. I like it for white tea. We like it for most things. It's actually, if we didn't have this pot, if the Nosaka is all we had, I'd be okay using it for sheng, to be honest. I got a Nosaka in carbonized reduction. Oh, that changes things. You gotta test it. If it's carbonized reduction, it's like this guy. These guys do different things. So test it, my friend. Luca V28 is here too. Yeah, welcome to the tail end of our tasting. We figured out which pots do well for sheng. The one that we thought, thank goodness. I am open to changing my mind, but it did turn out to be the best performing in this experiment. Yeah, and like Steven was saying over in chat, we do use all of these for different teas. It's not like this is seasoned specifically for sheng. You know, we do use a lot of sheng in it, but we've also brewed other things in it too. So it's not like it's the only factor there. Yeah. Yeah, so yes, even if it's porcelain, test it. Actually, the very first teaware side-by-side I ever did was a side-by-side of a porcelain cup and a porcelain cup by my teacher Fang, you know, my teacher Ai's sister. And I was like, that's BS, there's no way, they're glazed, you know, they're gonna be the same. She's like, just try it. And I tried it. That was in 2015, 5 years ago. And I was like, holy shit. So that's why I do this, yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining us for today's tasting. If you have any follow-ups to this, DM me or message me on Discord on the Teaware channel. If you ever do an experiment like this, please share it. On Instagram is good. Discord is just a little bit better for this kind of like discussion, ongoing discussion of teaware, and there are also really cool experiments that everyone else is doing there too. One piece of data is not enough. When you build that library of data, that library of flavors, that's when we really get results. So yeah, thanks for joining us today. We got 2 more days of puerh love tomorrow. Sohan Fan from West China Tea Company. Yes! I'm so excited. That guy is cool. He's got really good tea. You gotta be here. He works with One Family in Nanwo. Dope ass puerh. See you guys at 1 p.m. for that tomorrow. Yeah, have a good day. Thank you for joining us.